Before I go into my real questions, I really want to know, what, how did you feel so empowered to be able to just go on and speak your mind the way you do when you're going back and forth with some of the other political analysts that are on TV with you sometimes?
I think I've just grown into it over time. I remember the first time I did like television when I was back on the campaign trail in 2016. I was nervous. Like, you can see my chest moving. I was like, oh no, I know what I'm talking about. It's getting crazy. But since I left the campaign trail in 2016, when I worked for Senator Sanders and I was a political commentator, you watch it. People say the craziest things on television. And I find, I realized very quickly that if I do not respond in the moment, whatever they have said is just going to sit out there. So I will give a little facial expression, and then I don't have a problem jumping in because I have to. So now that I'm back on the campaign trail for Vice President Biden, people are still saying crazy things, but now it's just on me. Like, I am a representative of the campaign, so I still have to pop back because people still saying crazy stuff, like name a lie that Donald Trump has said. I'm like, do you have all day? Because he lies a lot. So how is this a real
They really
question?
said that?
Yes, the lady it was Fox.
I mean, we constantly catch him in, what is he, fake news, as he likes to call it.
We catch him in a lie regularly, every single day.
We be having receipts.
Regularly, okay? It's a CVS receipt of lies that Donald Trump has told. So,
okay.
Crazy.
Well, all right. I want to get into some of these questions. All right. So we've seen a greater response to the murders of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, and I hate what happened to them, but I'm so happy that the world has come together to fight for justice for them. But as well as I want to see justice for Breonna Taylor. Okay. And so as Black women, how can we continue to honor her memory and fight for her justice to be served as well?
Well, first of all, Kandi, you're doing it right now by just bringing her up and introducing her into the conversation. I think it's important that we regularly remind people that the unrest that folks are feeling is not just George Floyd. It is the video of Ahmaud Arbery, and it's the Breonna Taylor. It's the death and killing of Breonna Taylor. I asked myself this yesterday, frankly, like, why are people regularly saying George Floyd's name and Ahmaud Arbery, and sometimes they forget to include Breonna Taylor? And I think part of it is for people because they didn't have a video. So we don't have a video of Breonna Taylor. But to those people, I say we shouldn't have to have a viral video on loop of a Black person, a Black woman being killed for her to get justice. And so I think it's important that we remember to speak her name and tell her story every single day, because her life mattered too.
Right. And I want to say this before I ask you any other questions, since we're talking about Breonna Taylor. I myself, for the past week, I've been donating to different causes, trying to help the movement. So obviously the first thing that I was looking up, I was trying to donate to a cause that would help bail people out of jail. And then I was trying to donate to the NAACP, which is easy to find. I also was donating to George Floyd's family, which was easy to find. And I donated to Ahmaud Arbery, which was easy to find. Breonna Taylor's was not as easy to find.
Really?
Not
really.
And I know that they do have a GoFundMe for her now. So everybody who knows it,
drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. GoFundMe or fund for Breonna Taylor in the chat right now. Because I didn't really see as many people posting the correct one for her. Yeah, we need the one that goes to the family, not the one that goes to the scammers.
I want to make sure I'm giving to the right people. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder if many people even realize what happened to Breonna Taylor. Like, we say her name, but Breonna, everybody knows the story of Sandra Bland. At least I hope they do. Sandra Bland in a car, police officer. She gets pulled over. They pull her out the car. They take her to jail. She dies later, just while she's in police custody. We don't know what happened to Sandra Bland. Breonna Taylor was at home in her house, sleeping, when the police kicked in her door and her boyfriend was there with her, not knowing who had just entered their apartment. He had a gun. He was a licensed, I do believe he was a licensed gun owner. And he shot back at the folks entering their apartment. Breonna Taylor was still in the bed, and the police returned more than 20 rounds of fire. Her boyfriend, I think, shot off 1 round. The police returned more than 20 rounds of fire, shooting and killing Breonna Taylor in her bed, but also shooting into other apartments. Like, these bullets went through the walls. And I explained this story to somebody the other day, and they said, why would the officers shoot 20 rounds? I said, exactly, which is why we need an investigation. Okay? Like, you're asking the right questions here. Right. So it is like, what happened to Breonna Taylor? Breonna Taylor should be alive. Like, Breonna Taylor was an EMT worker, a public sector. So it's just, it really just, it's disturbing, because it's just very disturbing that is still happening in 2020. So we have to continue to speak Breonna Taylor's name, but we need to know her story. And y'all need to drop the donate link down here to the official thing in the chat.
Yes.
Oh, I see it. People are dropping it.
All right. So one more time for the people who did not hear me before you logged on. I told everybody that, oh Lord, you got the sirens in the background.
The sirens. We live down the street from the, I hope everybody's safe. We live down the street from the fire department.
Yeah, no, but I was telling everybody before you came on that you were a seasoned political strategist, and that you once were the national press secretary for U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders for his presidential campaign back then in 2016. But now you are the senior advisor for former Vice President Joe Biden. So with that,
I got the shirt on today.
Hey. So with that being said,
oh yes, Kandi, what you got for me, Kandi?
When former Vice President Joe Biden said that if you don't vote for him, you ain't black?
Well, Kandi, it's a thank you for the question. Okay, so first of all, Vice President Biden, in the immediate aftermath of that, he came out and he said he shouldn't have been so cavalier. He apologized. He realized that he understood from people that comment made folks feel as though he's taking the black vote for granted. And he wanted to be very clear that he has never taken the black vote for granted, and he surely isn't in this race. I mean, black voters are how he became the Democratic nominee, and they're critical to him being president. I think that, look, I understand why people just hearing that soundbite would have questions, but I encourage folks to go. I think he said this on the Breakfast Club. Okay, I encourage folks to go and watch the 17-minute interview with Charlamagne on the Breakfast Club. It is conversational. Okay, it is high energy. It is emotional a little bit, because Charlamagne is like, no, this, and Vice President Biden is like, I'm trying to tell you, man. Right. And I say all that to say that, like, the reason we can even talk about a comment Joe Biden made on the Breakfast Club is because he went there. And why did he go there? Because that is a place where young people, specifically young people of color, that they listen to, that they watch. And he is going there to earn those votes. And so he is committed to earning those votes. Our campaign is the only Democratic nominee to ever put out a plan for Black America in the general election. Usually people do it in the primary, then they do a pivot to talk to some other voters. Black voters are central to our pivot. So I want folks to continue to hold us accountable, but I also want people to see the whole interview, and especially the comments after the fact where he was very clear that, I just want to be clear, I'm not taking the black vote for granted. He did say that. So all we can continue to do is let action show. But I know the comment wasn't great. He knows it wasn't great. He said it. I mean, how did it make you feel, Kandi, when you heard it? What did you think?
I laughed, honestly, at first, because I just thought, wow, I mean, he's right technically, but he actually had the nerve to say it out loud. When you know somebody's thinking something, but they don't always say it out loud. And I was like, damn, he actually said that out loud.
and he know that he shouldn't have been so cavalier. But I do think the point that he was making, though, I mean, if we can just be honest, you want to put Joe Biden's record. He said he will put his record up against Donald Trump's as it relates to the black community any day. And Donald Trump, who called African countries shithole countries, who asked black people in the last election, what do they have to lose? At this point, our lives, okay, due to the coronavirus. Donald Trump, who has yet to do anything substantive for our community, who I'm just really, he literally stood at the White House at the podium the other day and said that George Floyd was looking down and happy about these job numbers, about equity. For him to put any other words in George Floyd's mouth except his last words of "I can't breathe," calling for his mother, is just despicable. Right. So, but Joe Biden has said that he shouldn't have been so cavalier, and he is committed to earning the African American vote. So
Right.
we're gonna show you with our actions.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really offended. I just thought like, wow, okay, he actually said that out loud. Okay. That's just how I looked at it, but at the same time I just looked at it at the end of the day, I'm not voting for Trump. So if I don't vote for Biden, that's like voting for Trump. So that's why I was like, he's right. I mean, at the end of the day, I know who I'm voting for. Simple as that.
And we're happy you feel that way. Look, but we realize though that there's a lot of people, Kandi, that were that you weren't offended, but there were people that were. And I think to those folks we say, look at Vice President Biden's record. Look at what he said in his campaign. Look at what he's saying right now when Black bodies are on the line, when Black people are dying. He doesn't speak George Floyd's name and Ahmaud Arbery's name without mentioning Breonna Taylor, because her life mattered and she's important to this moment too. So we as a campaign, though, have to continue to demonstrate that we are actively working to earn the vote. And, you know, we're working on that every day.